Ever since being introduced, Whitebeard has still remained relevant in strength, and that's really no surprise. The guy is labeled the world's strongest man, and was going blow for blow with Roger, Garp, and Sengoku, all while in their primes. Even in his death, he literally stood tall and portrayed unbelievable feats, even being strung from life. Meanwhile, one of his Yonko counterparts, Big Mom, has not shown this level of strength and excellence during her run in the story. Whitebeard vs Big Mom alone is a fight that we all know the answer to, but what if I were to give Big Mom some help? What if she had the aid of her entire crew to fight alongside her against solely Whitebeard? What's going on, guys? My name is Verdix, and if you enjoy videos like this, I recommend you go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I put out quality content like this weekly, you won't want to miss. The Big Mom Pirates are probably the most slandered crew in the series, and to be honest, it's rightfully so. Big Mom, on the offensive side of things, wasn't able to defeat Law and Kid even while being able to heal herself, and got stronger while doing it. She also, for some reason, just could not use Advanced Conqueror's Haki here. Either she forgot it or she just couldn't. We really don't know. The best I'll give for her, though, is that she can use it once and that's it, but even then, you might call me generous for that. With their homies, she can use them to attack alongside her, whether that is her manually controlling them or them going onto autopilot and attacking Linland's enemies. These homies ranging from lightning to fire to even slicing attacks with Napoleon, and when she combines them all, she can create Master Saber and Cannon to strike Law and Kid with. These attacks can only keep Law and Kid down for a few seconds before they get back up and have the upper hand on her. Her ultimate attack is Misery, which rain downs a swarm of brutal attacks on her opponents. However though, even while being hurt previously by Big Mom and Kaido, these attacks are enough for Law and Kid to take and still have enough strength to land their strongest moves. Law is actually able to cut through Misery and silence her after that as well, so I don't really hold Misery to that much high of a degree. The crazy thing about all of this is that Big Mom, even though she wasn't using Advanced Conqueror's Haki, is still getting stronger throughout the fight as she is taking souls of the fodder around her, which heals her and makes her bigger and stronger. Even while having this crazy hack, it still isn't enough to defeat Law and Kid. She also is very easy to tag as she is just a fat old woman, but she can be a bit more versatile by using Hera or Prometheus to fly her. Still though, it's not like she gets fast, she just doesn't become a fucking tree. Her durability is one of her strong suits, as whenever we do see her, it's stated by multiple characters to be difficult to penetrate. Even a Luffy in Bounce Man after beating Doflamingo couldn't put a single ounce of damage onto Big Mom in Whole Cake Island. However, we see that Law and Kid, once they awaken their devil fruits, are able to consistently apply damage to her. Albeit Law's is Durneg, but you'll see why that doesn't matter later in the video. After these attacks land, the damage is enough where Big Mom legit has to heal every single time. The best endurance feat for her you can use would be saying she was still conscious while falling to her death. But it's not like she was able to move, and much for that matter. At that point, she was a sitting duck anyway. It doesn't matter if she was cursing out Roger in her head or not. The battle is done. She is done. Now that we have her out the way, it's time we discuss what her crew can do. Now, I'm not going to waste my time mentioning the guys Whitebeard would look diff away, but I think it's noticeable for a crew to mention Katakuri, Cracker, and Oven. The rest of the crew is just ass among ass. The sweet commanders were getting taken out by Yoroj and pre-Wano Kid. Compared to Whitebeard, you're going to have to do a lot better than that. Cracker was able to push back and suppress Tankman Luffy after defeating Doflamingo. He was actually sent because of the fact Luffy defeated Dofi. He can create biscuit soldiers to do his work while not having to do a thing himself. However though, Luffy was a hard counter to this, as with his insane appetite, he was able to eat all of the soldiers and fight Cracker's real body. Even when Luffy gets past the soldiers, Cracker himself is able to fight off opponents and is highly skilled in combat before succumbing to defeat against Luffy. And in the manga, we see how Kuzan and Van Augur were able to easily defeat him and capture Pudding. While in the anime it goes a bit more in depth, but I don't think this filler scene is really bad to use for Kuzan vs Cracker, as Kuzan just freezes him and defeats Cracker like that. But the real crazy thing here is that Van Augur's bullets can one-shot Cracker's soldiers. I don't know why they added this scene, it's not really meant to be used in scaling, but if you wanted to go crazy, there you go. Anyway, moving on to the next Big Mom pirate, Oven. It's real simply going off some misbelief with his feats, as in the cover pages which are canon, we see that Katakuri and Oven were poisoned and punched each other, seemingly stalemating. But this isn't the case, as they weren't in the right state of minds, and the feats Katakuri shows is much greater than Oven's, as he is getting blitzed and fodderized by Whole Cake Island Sanji. As for the Donut Man himself, Katakuri is a lot more impressive than his siblings, being able to use all 3 basic types of Haki and even advancing his observation Haki to the point he can see into the future, which is something he uses all the time. His Mochi Fruit gives him the ability to do pretty much anything Luffy could pre-Gear 5 and Snake Man, and he was able to land a big hit Buzz Mochi in on Luffy before succumbing to his injuries. His strength and speed was impressive, as even colliding fist, Luffy was always in pain and needed to unlock both Future Sight and Snake Man to keep up with Katakuri's tremendous speed. Now, if you know Katakuri, you know exactly what ruined his PR, that goddamn chart. If you aren't aware, this chart showed off the numbers of the attacks landed by each fighter, where Katakuri lost a fight despite being up 123 to 13 hits. That is absurd, not just for his endurance but for his AP as well. He couldn't keep a Whole Cake Island Luffy down despite hitting him 123 times on screen. He could have and most likely hit him more times off screen. This just diminishes anything Katakuri was ever capable of doing. Now, up till this point, you've probably been asking yourself, which version of Whitebeard are we talking about? Is it old or prime Whitebeard? And I'm here to say that it doesn't matter which version it is, as we know he is still a top tier amongst top tiers even during his old age, as he can combat against the admirals and clash with Shanks. He didn't show it, but he's capable of using Advanced Conqueror's Haki. In my personal headcanon, I just think that was because Oda didn't conceive the idea of advanced Haki types till much later on in the series. Now, it isn't confirmed, but it's most likely safe to assume that Whitebeard possesses both Ryu and Future Sight. Like I said, it is not 100% confirmed, but I wouldn't blame you, as I myself believe Whitebeard had both Advanced Armament and Observation Haki. And alongside of that, he has his incredible Guru no Mi Fruit that allows Whitebeard to directly hit an opponent while causing collateral damage to those around, which will be very important in this fight. This fruit possesses so much power, it is able to destroy the massively large One Piece world. His fruit is able to combat up against Akainu's, which is crazy since Akainu's Devil Fruit is stated to be the strongest fruit in the series. Speaking of, Akainu was able to burn half of Whitebeard's face off in multiple holes throughout his body that incinerates his organs. Yet despite that, Whitebeard is able to keep fighting and land a big hit in on Akainu. He even is able to overpower and scare the living shit out of Blackbeard after this, despite being pretty much a dead man walking. When in his prime, he was able to clash with and live against the likes of Roger, Garp, and Sengoku, seemingly on multiple occasions. Whitebeard and Roger are actually able to fight each other for 3 days and nights and are still fine and laughing it off after, heavily implying they could have gone way longer and that was only a scuffle. Not only is he very powerful and almost impossible to take down, but the guy is very mobile, as he can dash across the island and its skies to clash against Roger. These moves are able to hurt top tiers that are much stronger than Big Mom herself, and combined with his immense speed and endurance, Whitebeard is a goddamn unit. Now, the only thing that is left to answer is the question, could Whitebeard beat Big Mom and her entire crew? Well, in my opinion, you would have a hard time convincing me that the Big Mom pirates have a real chance here. Her crew is all getting one-shot by Whitebeard, even the strongest ones like Katakuri. And I'm pretty sure I don't have to explain why Whitebeard shifting tectonic plates would take out a large majority of her crew. I mean, if he just throws a regular Quake Punch at Big Mom, the collateral damage will take out anyone in the surrounding area. Guys like Perospero, Oven, and Smoothing, while they might be the strongest amongst their crew, any attack by Whitebeard is going to be something they just don't have an answer to. And don't even get me started on how impossible it would be for them to harm Whitebeard. Katakuri and Cracker are pretty much having the exact same thing happening to them. Cracker's soldiers are all getting wiped out by the Quake attacks, and Katakuri I doubt would even do damage. Mind you that when Luffy beat Katakuri, he went to Wano and in his strongest form couldn't damage base Kaido. If Whitebeard is on guard, which he will be, Katakuri's speed won't even assist him, and his attacks will one-shot Katakuri. If 13 hits from Whole Cake Island Luffy is what it took for Katakuri to be taken down, a singular hit from Whitebeard will do the job. Even Big Mom herself wouldn't be of aid. The argument of teamwork doesn't help them here either, as like I stated, Whitebeard's attacks span amongst a wide range and carry great power with them. If he decides to tilt the seas, he can easily destroy the island they're on and follow up with an attack. I'm not lying, pretty much all of the Big Mom pirates are dying after being hit with this. As for Big Mom herself, well, she is going to be hit with every attack in Whitebeard's arsenal. Even if she starts the battle flying on one of her homies, Whitebeard can literally jump into the air and cut it down, or just use his devil fruit to knock her off. The moment this happens, Whitebeard is just going to deliver an onslaught of attacks onto Big Mom. Remember how I said Law's Duraneg argument doesn't matter here? Well, if you are on board with me about Whitebeard most likely having Ryu, then Whitebeard himself could use Duraneg on Big Mom with Ryu. Her own attacks aren't going to do much to Whitebeard neither. Reminder that her strongest attack couldn't keep Law and Kid down even after they were damaged by her and Kaido prior to this. Whitebeard will literally brush off her attacks like it's nothing. The guy was able to continue fighting in a war after having half his face melted off and his organs incinerated. Big Mom cannot apply this level of damage to Whitebeard whatsoever. So she can't hurt Whitebeard, she can't dodge any attacks from Whitebeard, she can't take the attacks from Whitebeard, and on top of all this, her crew is getting fodderized by the shockwaves Whitebeard is creating. He doesn't even have to focus on them. He could just attack Big Mom and the shockwaves will solo her crew. They literally cannot damage him in the slightest, and pretty much neither can Big Mom. Sure, she can maybe scratch him, but if you and Kaido did multiple attacks to Law and Kid combined with your strongest attack and you still couldn't keep them down, you simply are incapable of doing that to Whitebeard. Combine this with how she is the easiest target to hit within the verse, and you see how there's just nothing she can do. Their crew is getting made a fool of by Whitebeard, even in his old age, let alone in his prime. If he's in his prime, he's just blitzing and one-shotting her entire crew. At the end of the day, the Big Mom pirates, even when stacked up against each other, don't have the capability to take down Whitebeard. Well, that's it for you guys. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and leave a like. It really helps with the algorithm and is very appreciated. As always, shout out to Tiberius for the thumbnail. He makes quality thumbnails for me all the time. And if you would like some of your own, hit him up on Twitter, link in the description, as well as my Twitter at @Ferdix_ for more of my takes. And without further ado, you guys can get out of here.